So tomorrow, my wife and I will have been married 47 years. So happy anniversary to my wife, Marcia, better known as Mimi to all her grands and our kids and most people that know her. So I thought I'd take a moment and tell you three statements that I think will help you stay married 47 years. Three things you need to say, if not every day, almost every day. And I want to tell you up front, I agree. Words without actions are meaningless. But still, people want to hear things. And so here are the three things I think you ought to say to your spouse every day. The first one is, I love you. You don't want to be like the man who his wife one day said, we've been married for a long time and you just don't tell me you love me anymore. And he turned around and looked at her and he said, I told you I loved you the day we got married. And if I ever change my mind, I'll tell you that. Well, that's funny, but sometimes too true. I want my wife to know, I want Marcia to know I love her. And so every time we talk on the phone, we end with, I love you. We tell each other we love each other, that when we wake up, when we go to bed, everyone wants to know they are loved. So tell your spouse that every day, many times every day, I love you. And say I'm sorry. Now you're going, well, every day, that's a lot of apologizing. Well, all of us sometimes need to say I'm sorry. Sometimes it is for something we do. Marriage has a list of rules of kind of do's or don'ts. And you know how they go in your marriage. There are things you need to do, things you don't need to do. And every once in a while, we get them backwards and we do the don'ts and we don't the do's. And you ought to learn to say, I'm sorry. I'm sorry for what I said. I'm sorry for what I didn't do. I'm sorry I told you I'd take out the trash and didn't. I'm sorry I said that about you. Now that I think about it, it sounded unloving and I know it was hurtful. I'm sorry for I didn't mean to. I'll do better. Learn to say I'm sorry, because after all, none of us are perfect. There really is never in a marriage any kind of no-fault situation. And so I think it's helpful sometimes to look our spouse in the eye and say, I'm sorry. I'm going to do better. Now, if you know me, you know I have way more to apologize for than Marcia does. But still, it's meaningful when she says to me, I'm sorry for. So learn to say I love you. Learn to say I'm sorry. And then learn to say thank you often. There are so many little things that Marcia does for me that if I'm not careful, I'll take for granted. Most of you know I'm a traveling preacher, and this season has been tough. I've had to say I'm sorry a whole lot more because she's not used to me being underfoot all day, every day. But when I do travel, you know who packs my suitcase? She does. And if I'm not careful, I forget to tell her thank you for that. Thank you for all you've done with the kids. Thank you for all you do for me. Thank you for 100 little things and 1,000 big things. We need to learn to say thank you and then be specific. Thank you for reminding me to take my pill. Thank you for reminding me to do this. Thank you for being my partner in life. Thank you for reminding me to pray for our grandkids. Thank you for being a great Mimi, a great mom, and a great wife. If you'll learn starting right now to say I love you, I'm sorry, and thank you to your spouse, someday you'll wake up and realize it has been 47 years, and you are blessed, and you are happy. So, Mimi, I love you, I'm sorry, and thank you.